Hey, and welcome back to VFX Tutors. I'm Josh, and in this tutorial we're going to be continuing with our flamethrower. So, if you're just joining at this point, we have just kind of finished the main sort of bulk of flamethrower. Now we're kind of finishing off on the bipod. So if you are just joining from now, you can pick this up right from the start in the playlist. But at the moment we are almost done. We've just got a couple little bits more to do. Then I guess we're kind of finally done with it. We just need to do a sort of a tech check sort of thing. And what I mean by that is checking against the reference imagery. So checking we haven't done anything wildly out. And we'll have to move things around probably. So previous one we sort of mirrored that across, and not too bothered about that at the moment because we'll do that when we check the images. So we'll kind of just finish this connection bit off, which should be fairly simple. So I'll do that, just make a cube. That's the sort of bit that goes in here. We have to kind of work with, because the scan's obviously not going to be absolutely perfect, so there's a certain amount of you kind of just have to be a bit wary about some things. Like if you're following the scan to a T, sometimes that may not actually be the best thing because you haven't quite got every single minute detail. But still pretty good though. We'll still I completely lost my chain of thought. Use our reference to double check all this anyway. So I'm just going to add a bevel on that corner just so it's a bit softer. That's quite annoying. It definitely did not need to be that complicated, but it's annoying when it does stuff that you just don't really want it to do. But it's fairly simple to that's probably the simplest of bits, so we will keep it as simple as possible. We could add more and more here, but we could also just do this. Cool. We'll just do something. We could just duplicate this, but I really don't feel the time saved is really worth it for something like this. It's very basic, and we're just kind of making this square hole. And I'm pretty sure there's actually like a... I'm pretty sure there's an actual... not connect. A tool in Maya somewhere that might actually do that for you. But, not 3, we'll just add 2. I just like sometimes to do things that are sometimes the simplest way for me is just doing it manually. And we'll need to add some supporting edges in there, so... we've added a... Make sure edge flows off. It's pretty terrible, let's just leave it as that. Okay, cool. So we've done that sort of little bit. We're kind of like working at such a small level here now. It's there's one thing here that we can't really see, but this is kind of we've got that pin from, we can use that pin from something else that we modeled before. So if we can reuse bits, we will. Not that we've actually had many chances to reuse bits, because there's quite a there's not many duplicate parts on this, apart from some of the screws. I'll just fill this hole here. I'm pretty sure there's also a tool to do this as well, but by the time I found it, this is sometimes it just is generally quicker to just do it manually. So what I'll do, I'll just leave that as that for now. In fact, actually, we'll just do these edges, because there's not a huge amount of detail on this. Let's not do that. Cool, let's go back to our flamethrower. And one of the very few small bits that we actually did on the other side that was very different was this. And we can definitely just, let's just group that. Duplicate it. We can definitely reuse that, because it's effectively exactly the same thing, just a bit smaller. So yeah, we do need to also add the washer as well. probably where we wish we added the same amount of subdivisions on that, but we didn't. Not a big deal. We can not that. Let's that's too many, isn't it? Let's do this so it matches properly. So yeah, I definitely made a boo-boo there. Just gonna go to my rigging and constrain. I've kind of also extruded at a funny angle as well, so another excuse to redo it. Let's face it, we're not it's not a complicated thing, but obviously if we can avoid that, we probably should. But how many subdivisions is this? Let's just count it. We can sort of adjust this in a minute. I know it's kind of, we probably could have just buried it in there. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, leaving it a kind of an open edge. But you know, like, it's a very simple model, isn't it? So we can just sometimes just taking that little bit more extra time to do it. Like I say, it's not necessarily absolutely the correct way to do it, but at least this is the way it's gonna be nice. And we're obviously at such a small scale, those values won't work. So let's do that start 100. I mean, probably could have. And we have to freeze transforms, otherwise it won't really remember. Cool. Let's delete the history. Put that back down to the right size. We can probably delete that now. That was a bit long-winded, but it's nice to do it correct. Peace of mind that it's not suddenly gonna do weird stuff and break, which is not uncommon. Hard to tell what this really is, but we can give it a good guess. So we'll still do our reference check as well. And we're very close to actually finishing this. Not particularly bothered if that's not perfect, but what we do need to do is add our supporting edges in here so we're not stretching. Cool. Now let's add our washer. Probably could do point and orient, but just trying to save. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm just trying to save as many times as I need to click. So we definitely come at a bit of a angle. It's always annoying when it does that, but you can sort of override it by doing a long rotational axis. Cool. So just do a quick check against that. I think this side was a little bit too thick. Sorry, definitely needed that coffee then. Cool, and we can hide that. We don't need that anymore. So we've done that, and we can duplicate that on the other side. And we will probably, when I'm actually looking at this, is actually very loose in here. So I know there's gaps and stuff, but that's actually kind of looking about right. So what are we on now? 22 minutes. Let's get as much of this stuff done. Cool, so we've done that bit. Now I'm going to move on to this sort of curved bit. Start with a cylinder. Really hoping that we can get this last bit done in this last video. You know what? That seems about right. Delete that. Delete that. Yes, tricky at the moment because it's kind of at a wonky angle, so we're going to have to probably pick width, and let's see. In fact, let's see how we can. So I'm picking this width. This might be a bad idea, but I'm going to reorientate it from that point. This is likely a very twisted bit of metal, so I don't really want to break our symmetry too much yet until we've got the whole thing sort of nicely done, because it just makes our life a little bit more difficult. That definitely finishes about there. It's always tricky to tell, but so we need the hole in there. Let's block out all the parts first. Just add those edges in there. So I'm going to make another cylinder. Probably this is going to be where I wish I didn't actually change the orientation of it, because now I'm going to have to do that for all of them. Or I could just do that. Let's, I don't think I'll have to see the hole now. Let's not overcomplicate it. So I'm just going to crudely extrude that there. I'm actually going to go to orthographic top. Sorry, I've got yesterday it was a whistly throat, now today it's a whistly nose. It's like I can't escape breathing problems. So there's that bit sort of blocked out. And we can probably, we'll probably tidy up all this a little bit later. Not, I keep forgetting, I do not want to actually change any of that yet. Let's give this some thickness. Hard to tell when it's like kind of quite rough, but we need to build this sort of that nothing inset in the middle. So we did mark it out, I believe. Then best way to do this, let's just go ahead and delete those bits. It's actually not as long on that side because of this bit. If we do smooth that now, it kind of doesn't give us what we want. Definitely a little bit thinner. Let's put that back to our object. Just so we're not doing anything weird. So it kind of actually works out as having to do it like that because we can add that bevel in now. Let's see. Just move that along the normal. Give that a bit of a cool. So this works out because now I can use that. If I bevel that, it's be like 0.35. Oh, no, 0. What is... what's happened here? I think maybe I might need to restart. Reset workspace. Why? I might have to restart. One sec. Okay, so we're back. Don't know what happened there, but do not know what that is. That's some strange plane that I cannot select at all. Bipodal. Okay, let's get rid of that. Okay, so I do not know what happened there, but it did not like it. Either way, we're back. Cool, so this is where we were at before. I'm just going to scale that down to fit. So, actually, no, I don't want to do that, maybe. Let's do this first. And good old Maya doing weird stuff. So I'm just going to make this kind of easier for me to work with. So keeping the thickness isn't really a big deal at the moment because we are just going to see how this goes. We're just going, because it's only the outside that matters, but let's see. Probably going to need my wireframe shaded so I can just see what's going on. So we'll absolutely need that. You can kind of see where I'm going at with this, hopefully. We just kind of need to reduce, which we've done. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. And entirely empty. Oh, yeah. I get blinded every so often by the sun, so probably the easiest way for me to do this right now is just to bridge there and just, instead of doing a lot of messing around, I can just add those edges in. Fluxing. There are probably not a million ways to do the same thing, but there are a lot of ways to do the same thing. So this is just like kind of a walkthrough, because, well, walkthrough, tutorial, basic same thing, but people are scared of long tutorials these days. Cool, so we've done that bit. We just need to now make this world work with what we want. So Let's try. My initial thoughts were to do this. But that's not going to particularly work with the rest of what I want to do. So I am actually going to brute force those edges. Oh. My tool's gone. Nope. I think I actually need to. Do you know what? I think it'll probably be alright. Because we're in the middle. The one thing that I'm just worried is that we're going to add a just not select that. Do not want those. It's really going to create a very tiny kink that we don't want. I think that should be alright. Just going to line these up as nice as I can. Not that it really matters because I can just target weld them afterwards, but which I will exactly do on these. On these, I will just match this up because I just don't want to mess around with. Let's put these tool settings in our. Who knows what happened there, but let's pretend it never happened. Cool, so now we've got that sort of shape. We do need to, because we'll create, what will happen there is we'll end up creating a lump that we do not want. So just push that in a little bit. Something like that. As I say, this is a really tiny piece. Probably never going to notice, but it's worth doing our best where we can. Just going to scale this up and have that. That's going to attach to that bit. This can definitely maybe go down to 12 or something. Maybe even a bit too low. Let's try 14. Bridge that. Where is the menu for Icon? Okay, so that's a strange one. The probably got to do something. It's probably got a bit funny, but what are we on now? I'm getting absolutely blinded by the sun. You have to move over. You have to close that window. Oh, that's bad. I can actually see now. Alright. I feel it's probably a little bit too thick. So I'll just use my transform component. Seems a bit better. Cool. Just gonna do this, just smooth the whole thing to check for any sort of weird stuff going on, which it all seems good. So I'm going to go ahead with the mass bevel. unsure how that will react. We will find out momentarily. Got a horrible feeling that might do something weird, but yeah, it has that. Maybe let's just ignore that for now. Probably add an edge loop in there instead. I think that will do that there as well, which we do not want. Okay, let's figure out a better way to do this. Do you know what? Let's just go for it. And our main problem is this bit. Cool, so now what we will have done is created a kink here, which we can definitely get rid of. We just got to find the right place to remove it. Or we could not get too hung up about it and just move it. Only taking these sort of shortcuts because we're becoming very near the end, and I think we can get away with a lot more stuff with the smaller bits. But that being said, it's still entirely down to you. God, I hate when I miss one. And if this doesn't particularly turn out very well, we'll do it properly, I guess. See how that looks. I think that's fine. Just now need to do the same for the other side. Obviously this is an extremely manual way of doing it, but why is I can hear my dog growling. Come on. Yummy. I thought I could hear him sneaking up outside. No, Stanley. Alright, you sit down and be quiet. Oh, so now I've got to do that with him on my lap. It's not that bad. So yeah, I know this is not ideal, probably. I'm not going to say this is... Well, it's absolutely fine. It's it's just the journey that we have made. Sometimes you make it easy for yourself, sometimes you don't. But we are so close to finishing this now, which is kind of nice. So I'm just pushing that along its normal, so it slides in a nicest possible way. Definitely pulled that out. first. Wax that as well. And this will kind of help it not kinking as well. Hopefully that's not breaking it too much. But cool. So I've got some bits on the inside, but not massively worried about that. So what have we got left? Cool. So let's just finish this in the last one because, or maybe let's just move on to the next one because we could probably finish the next one. So if you've enjoyed this tutorial, let's see you in the next one. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It really does help. And we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully you've got quite far of this, and yeah, I hope you're enjoying it. Thanks for watching.